Good morning, class.
If you ask 10 people what a brand is, I wouldn't be surprised if you got very different answers every single time. The crazy part, most of them are probably wrong. Welcome back to another episode of Brand Builders, where I, Matt, a lowly graphic designer, partner with an incredible family-owned Thai restaurant in my neighborhood as we take their small business and turn it into a household name. Now, some may say, Matt, isn't that a stretch? Maybe, but I say it's worth a shot. Modern brand strategy is about clarity and consistency. It's about aligning what you offer with what people who work with you will experience. And companies that can do that well, they don't just survive, they scale. In a world overwhelmed with options, people don't just buy products. They buy the brand, the identity of the business. They're looking for belonging, belief. One of the most important parts of a business is brand identity. So it makes sense that before you touch a logo, pick up the camera to make some ads, or grab the keyboard to build that website, you have some serious work to do. Last week I introduced Thai Time, the family, Jay, the owner, and we sat down and we talked through a discovery meeting where I asked him questions about his business, his goals, what he was trying to do with his business, and then just opportunities we had to work together to be able to maybe clarify and grow their presence, their brand into the future. When I first sat down with Jay, I could tell immediately that Thai Time was special. Jay's family had immigrated to America decades ago and have been grinding for years by creating and building restaurants. Thai Time is more than just a restaurant. It's a history, a legacy, a family, and it's also a roadmap for the future. They have dreams, goals, a vision. And one of the funnest parts of this entire experience for me was to sit down and try to strategize on how to take those things and turn them into a reality, so that every customer who walks through those doors experiences what Jay has experienced, what he's learned, and what he hopes for in the future. Now, if you walk into Thai Time right now, you probably wouldn't pick up on these things. In reality, they're working with what they have. They bought this restaurant, a historic location with a giant ice cream cone outside. They're working in a small space. They've had to cut down on their kitchen size, and just things have been challenging because of that. But I do believe that with the right positioning and strategy, we can take all of the things that make Thai Time unique and be able to implement them into this space in a way that not only helps them to be able to grow, but also is able to communicate what their brand is really all about. Right now, there's so much opportunity here. I really do think that Thai Time can not only be a thriving local business, but I think it can also be an example of how other small businesses can leverage the uniqueness of their story and be able to grow in the future. But it all comes down to clarifying what your brand actually is. So like I said earlier, a brand isn't necessarily what you think you're communicating to people. It's not just about the words you have on the outside of your building or the headline of your website. It's much deeper than that. Branding is built on the relationship between the customer and the client. And every single interaction between the two affects your brand. So if you're working on your own brand, here are 3 practical tips to be able to build a brand strategy that actually sticks. Tip number 1 is pretty self-explanatory. Spend some time trying to figure out what your brand is really communicating right now. Start with the emotion, not just the visuals. People remember what it feels like to work with you. If you're saying that you are a very competent and professional and efficient worker, yet at different points of interaction, your customers start to feel like, I don't really know if I buy that, that's a brand problem. So what I would recommend is just taking time, speak to your customers, ask the hard questions. The goal is to be able to accumulate enough information that you can really look at the entirety of your business and be able to say, are we articulating and communicating the right things to be able to communicate our brand effectively? And if not, at least you know where to start working on it. Tip number 2 is to identify who is your ideal customer. Now, at first glance, that might sound like a stupid question. It might just be a waste of your time if you just take it at first glance. But I promise you, this could be a revolutionary game changer in how your business operates. Identifying an ideal client isn't only helpful just in the sense of figuring out who is it that I want to work with. It allows you to begin to build systems to be able to attract those types of people to your business and be able to create a way for you to be able to articulate your brand in a meaningful, emotional way that connects with those customers, which will make it much, much more likely that they'll want to actually work with you. Probably the simplest way to do this is to imagine yourself sitting across the table from someone. Now, this is the person that you feel most likely will connect with you, that you want to work with, that fits what your business is all about. Now, if you begin to get specific on what this person is like, what they're more likely to spend money on, what they're more likely to spend their time doing, the more specific you can be with this person will make it so much more likely down the road for you to be able to create a business that attracts those people. So don't underestimate that step alone. Your brand doesn't need to speak to everyone. It needs to speak to specific people in a way that will cause your business to scale. So then once you've done all of that work, once you've figured out what is my brand about, what do people think my brand is about, what's the rub in between those two things, once you've figured out your ideal customer and begin to start thinking through what are ways that I can position my business in a way that might attract them as opposed to other businesses that are like yours. Once you do all of that work, then you can start to clarify your brand in a way that brings in the visuals, the emotion, the uniqueness of your business, and you can begin to create a brand system. Branding shouldn't be a one-time event. It's a filter through which you define and choose every single decision and choice that you make. So then that leads us back to tie time. So tie time is bringing in so many different facets and so many different experiences in which customers might come into contact with them that we can begin to start to hone in on figuring out how do we package all of these things up together and ship it in a way that connects with our audience. One of the things I think is so cool about tie time is that I feel like it blends in the past, present, and the future in a very cool way. Jay, the owner, is coming off of decades of family work experience in Asian restaurants. And the legacy that he brings not only includes his immediate family, but also the time he spent in Thailand, the culture and history that has helped shape him to become the person he is today. But not only that, Jay wants to be able to position Tie Time in a way that embraces the future. He wants to modernize things, automate things, bring in things like AI when it's useful. So there's this kind of tension between the past, his history, his family, and the future, opportunities and unique ways to grow in the modern age. If we can do that effectively, I think not only can we position Tie Time as this very unique and valuable restaurant in the Knoxville area, but also as an example for all sorts of small businesses to be able to try to replicate and be able to grow themselves. So what does a rebrand actually look like? What are we trying to do in this project? Well, we're going to be doing all the flashy stuff, new product photography, new website, new merchandise, new logo. But at the heart of it all is probably more than you think. We're going to try to be specific and clear in our communication, tie in the unique family history, the historic culture of Thailand that they're bringing over to America to be able to share through their food. We're going to try to build a stronger emotional connection with the customers, help them to be able to feel like they really know Jay and feel like family when they come through the doors. We're going to try to make things easier for the decision-making of the team. The goal of a good brand is to be able to create a system that filters out all of the distractions and hard questions and be able to really just punch through with exactly what needs to be said at any given interaction. And as an end goal, we want to be able to create a platform in which Tie Time can be positioned for growth when opportunities come. This isn't just about a new logo. It's about a legacy. A future, one built on hospitality, care, and a name that communicates heart. So, with all that being said, we're just getting started. In next week's episode, we're gonna begin to hone in on the visual identity as we craft a custom new logo for Tie Time that's effective, scalable, and useful not only now, but also in the future. If you're excited about this project at all, if you're excited about seeing Tie Time's big transformation coming up, or if you're excited about learning how graphic design and brand strategy can help tell stories and build bridges and create communities, hit that subscribe button and follow along as we rebuild Tie Time from the inside out. Thanks for watching.